Akwa bia Amanyosem me na guso ahwe no fire do ya tentam se no WhatsApp messages ni brain yan kenkan nyina emfa ma na nadwo de wankasa ni tua yenua Solomon Asante National Communication Team member de ma the ruling New Patriotic Party of the Solo
eja hunto
for me there
okonfo hunto afita no okonfo no pe o de amount
they say dinner dos
okonfo because u gina say ya
I know be cry ma general captain general
when general captain no
captain general
but you kono local okonfo hunto
okonfo kom
so gina ha okonfo
na na breme ye breme
next week ba be podua
podua de
shire
no
shire minimum shire
yeah
de na ema na nyama omudi
no abia
ale obese
shire na so if you boko there
na mi adum wo ne mo pai bo na wo twa say dubio ye chia ye nwan no mani omudi dwuma yi afi de se ne ye sha se om keka om ho no ye sure say sa na betu emu akosi se afi ne be na wie ye ti no Bola City guy
amen
Ike ye chia mo eja wusu no mo ye chia mo nyina Maloney hey serious
Kingsley
do
adwe
yoso
pomie there
well emi adom etiase
atiase pa
take manda bodwe mu die
open show
dan kan yame oh no yes me pensio
nko 2 bottles
samaranko
Basin show no ba ko ni difference as we Milo ana we water ensusie be the dantem pacha mo capture show no me we
samaranko you see
me hwe show no
oh we ensure a me bana me talk kwam me no me na dia kana me dia ba hai samuni towards the end of last year me call boase Uremu akopie makura ase adanse gromisa
okay
the issue we in free ho
okay
me koduru oboase a ya metal hwe wo akaporiso na ayimbre na me duru ya me mama bucket se me nkodware no ura bathroom me say nshu no because of say na bathroom more light ni tie no nti ma hu nshu ni yi but na para me kodware me say bu nshu no gu bucket mu ma hwe ye no mani anye nshu no tap water I'm saying no pipe ayimre ya wodi atudwa say Ghana Water Company omo betu nshu ni nkani abu okani na bomu a 37% 38% thank you e be take effect first February next month. That's a new year package. Mampine kufu do feature bi na bushu afo aban omo de magana for and Mr. Hiagba, the communication director of MPP.
Yes, my director.
On the ato omo Facebook or tweet or the Twitter account we say Ghana for embo mampine kufu do abaso so we tweet my for ketuem 30% e unprecedented been see that. But one fan can say inflation is 54.1% one fan can. And at the same time, our banner sabe tun so boom and then can abo kanina boom 38%. 38% for free 30% of my for country anymore. Your deficit of 8% plus 54.1% of inflation. And then your later conversations. But despite this whopping and neck-breaking incremental, Ghana Water Company for the Abano. What will ensure our more Sony and Idiama Koboas for some monum?
Sika Chrome.
Yes. Sanshuwe if you boas a caporiso, na me boo Sanshuwe. Me bunso ni shame bagim, and the kodu boko. Me fi boko dia banka and the sukutame. She told us a camera a bit more for a year. One. Now he sent 2 minutes where you almost a different room. Cameraman, please capture me well.
I capture.
One say show us a different room. Now, me say. A bula woman kumewo makrase pokuase oyina bisi e dey call or they say ayawa so oyina bisu ho na metie oyina na say
was it function so on capture ni yema
fine
yeah
oyina bisu so oyina na say na meda
okay
bura bi oyina na say pe ho na mesa nsuo oyina ne mu nsuo no fe e chance an nsuo we ya Ghana Water Company for aso no so da ma oboase for say wo monom no ensure you
first no more capture
yeah ensure you no modi ama oboase for say wo monom
no kokko no manem na say pushing go
fine yeah we ensure free boase we enu nie Ghana Water Company sika krum ensure nie na we ya me ensure amato anom a ekura me aba look at the difference Look at the difference. Obuasi is a part of Asante region, Adansi. Look at baby omo trouble MPP pa. From 1992, Victor Usu, MPP for Anchor Parliament in Tino. Victor Usu etimi firm, then it was called Obuasi West Constituency. Under NDC, Victor Usu Edbedi MP. Is it Victor Usu? That the name? Yeah, I think so. One free hope. One more abaying na MP.
2 minutes on this.
Everything there. Kenya Santa Manda Roma. Akufo no fit chebi achimem konye president. But what the galam say Santa Maya mane ensure the man Santa Maya say omonnom a Obuasi for kan weni. Hwe so lo he. Ohun should as fi. Ohun fi ohun. Look at it. Ohun fi ohun. Ohun. When I say what the cap, you can take it and look at it. When I want the pipe, I say cap. A boot tap muso na do Obuasi say one no more. Sadi won obenom. So no you hunto yare hosem.
Enye ase nko a wo be nso na nkasa you can see Debris say dear him anyway
These are my initial remarks.
Okay. Now let's spend at least 5 minutes on debt restructuring program abide the minority for hold the press conference on a minority for I speak here against it now I say majority chief whip Yura are not done pray and so Akasetia said that Bino should stop it. Now they say to me Abua. Pacho so as why ready I take us to the minority for press conference now and no more and not fee. Yenti the minority for kind. Now on this debt restructuring program, a domestic debt restructuring program no, the minority has kicked against it and the majority chief whip. And so I kasa edietia. Now Yura Lanche maintain now no criticizing the government and so a part of the government, so he cannot criticize his own government. But Yura Anodon Pre has criticized the government and the decision of government to embark on this domestic debt restructuring program. No, and Yenti minority.
It is a recommendation of this minority that the domestic debt exchange program, in a considered view, will create extreme hardships for millions of Ghanaians and existing financial institutions and insurance companies. And therefore, if Nana Addo and Dr. Bawumia had heeded to counsel from the opposition, and even from some of the Kwame Pienim and Co., we will recognize people who speak with wit and wisdom. They would not have plunged this country into this irredeemable economic crisis. It is obvious that Nana Addo is transferring the responsibility to address the debt burden he has created through his irresponsible borrowing and populist fiscal policies to innocent Ghanaians and to the financial sector, and cleverly into the future that he does not belong, post-2024. This means that we in the minority, we are demanding major expenditure cuts as a manifestation of fiscal prudence for purpose of achieving fiscal consolidation. We in the minority call on government to immediately suspend the domestic debt exchange program and engage more comprehensively in consulting stakeholders and the Ghanaian people. We call on all stakeholders that probably they can consider a national economic dialogue on the state of the economy and in particular the domestic exchange initiative or program.
NDC for National Economic Dialogue, President Mahama, yeah. Why didn't Mamu Munya hope say you still keep on saying proposing for national dialogue and economy? Anyway, I'm shouting for free Minya Amaliba Honum. Minority for Asamomo Ekanye on this debt restructuring, domestic debt restructuring program. What's your take?
Well, this domestic debt restructuring program, binding friend debt exchange program, or thereby, you say, element of it includes the haircut. Rebecca say it is a willful initiative of the government to steal directly from the citizens without shame. In fact, it is illegal and expropriation of wealth, which according to Article 18 and 20 of the Constitution is unconstitutional and lawless on the part of the government. Why do we say so? Tommy, less than 10 years ago, MPP was in opposition. Before 2016 elections, yenim ensem, adokodokonsem, akohwisem, atrosem, ene boshe akese boshe wo, boshe srono, amampine kufuado, ene laji Mahamadu Bawumia gina simpio so kache Ghana for. Ebi ni say yeti sika so. Eni kwansi ebobosia na Ghana ya desheman. Sika no Balaji Mahamadu Bawumia waye duma Bank of Ghana pen. Ghana yi sika okroma. Enti ni kwansi kobobosia yen sika e de yem puntuduma. Enti anamu a President Mahama ne NDC aba 8 no sabe. Eye na muntu a adwene enim. Gabi Wachidako, the most powerful man in Ghana without a portfolio in government. That's someone okay. Samamu ayese abane and also mampeninu eni enim. Ni ambobo se kodru pempenso man ntimi ntua ne ka. Eni nipa hunu bia betime buman. That was some of his tweets. By then, from Kwame Nkrumah basic President Mills and Mahama, as of December 21st, 2016, January 7, 2017, President Mahama handed over the baton of leadership with pride. Eddie man and Adam Kokufuado, I will feel chebi, na Ghana kaise. 120 billion. From Kwame Nkrumah, 1957 to 2017, how many years? 60 years. And the Abai from 1967, at the 60 years, Aboka 120 billion. Wo beji akonyane fi 2017 e de bebi 2022 a na 23 ni ayedu mu a ameka kwa 2022 wo de 380 billion abeka Ghana ka ho wo ya ban ben wo bobusia to your sense na wuntumi ntua wo ka you who are you Gabi Wachidako sa ban obobosia no eye nipa hunu bia betuma buman akufo the friend so yeden nipa hunu po he doesn't deserve to be called nipa hunu because he goes beyond that papa hwemu papa hwe akwa because ono anu wo fast Gabi Wachidako language na me use oma homo but here we are after borrowing and using one company like Data Bank Black Star Brokerages mo bobosia Ghana o mine e bobosia emem no na mo de emu yeye Ghana bobosia ye pe sika no so ye hu ne modi aye no na mo ye se tamabushafo ye na o mame Ghana ntimi ntua ye ka adwaman so Ghana na ne manfo we have become a bankrupt nation. The only option for the government now and is they have to try baby President Mahama Edi Ghana in 2016 our hand over Makobampine Kufuado no they are now struggling to achieve a debt sustainability by 2029 to 2030. But Mampine Kufuado ni abemubium. I wonder even if you'll be alive by then. But or the Ghana be do something pension way. Nene, sa ban ni sika, na musika say na to nsum, mo bo man no, na fe krono mo bo ne bosia basa mo bo the senior honorable Okuje to Ablakwa e ka ho asem about Mr. Kusi and ne nyoma wo ye. Na ope kwanya obefa obeyi hu afiri sa hochire ni mu a the only option abaye hunu say wa gu banks awie wa pam Ghana for court na fie ene niamanfo a omo aka aban bituma nani akosi omo no say wo mo je omo aban ediye no mo tu omo nka so mo botom ebre samoni fifire eye adwuma eye sika no mo de sika ne bo aban bosie se aban ye jesa sika we na fa bo Ghana puntu no aban adan nani ade akosa nkofo no ho omo sika no and what the apaso esim and I will try the left right center 2023 ayewemu aban sisa wo bobusia obobusia free wa ehun sigunu onfa mawo 2024 obma hwe 25 or more 15%, 26 15%, all the way to 2032. Here my principal po, the principal po there will train 3 years later. No one can say spreading within the next 15 years. Who does that? Who does that? A hand time jar a campaign ne meaningful or motive kunyaso. Now him. A bino ye bibia or the bet trigger temamufo no na amanfo de abufuo atesi abonten so na create anarchy. Mesre Ghana for say bonini sem hunu ekoso yina no everybody should hold their temper because it is a democratic mistake. Honorable Johnson Sedun Ketia and his national chairman. You two about my NDC executives on call Aseda ewo Perez, is it Perez Dome?
Perez Chapel.
Perez Chapel. As someone come on say Onyankopon and determined leader MIA. Wama the will to choose whoever we want. But the consequences of our actions, we cannot determine it. These are some of the consequences of the actions we took in December 7, 2016. And inshallah, how long? Not long. By December 2024, we will kick these guys out and the law will be applied strictly to ensure that it will serve as a guide against similar recklessness by government in the future. You see, Kevin McCarthy, or the Speaker of Congress, what can I think is worth referring here was that the duty of the government is to help you, but not come after you. Yet to aba, I'm a good for the free chebi, a chimney of free chebi. So on the bush of former Nakunaso, no moon go after the citizens. And no good for the Betnaku, your ward papa, or my company that. Does he know how it takes to create a company and nurture it to grow? Dr. Indum, Sikani Bako Free Central Region, or good Numa Inara. Said we are going to go Ohefa, Amoabe Ohefa, Atu East and Ohefa. We bet Nakunaso, among 4 more getting companies for the past 30 years and more. What Gomu in Numa. And now you are going after Uncle 4 Modisika. Woman no more Jumano. They have paid their taxes to the state. They have satisfied all their tax obligations to the state. Account one customer fashion modia to her. No more invest on fashion dia ma buyer. Abuy some music and so mafa. Onya comfort by SRD. Huh?
Okay.
Onya comfort by SRD. I don't think with the NDC 1.3 million bond holders are petition parliament. It has never happened before. We stand by the bond holders. What we are saying is that government must engage them because Okafor ya hand tiny dress go back to the creditor, sit with them, engage. Now some more affordable. It must come from their own volition. And you're all the
okay.
That actually also here.
So
we stand with them and we'll continue to stand with them.
Last week, Honorable Alan Chamantin address our castle. Though Abana Yeniama Bibri Senke Onwang, he would have done something different. MPP, some of you guys will say so. He cannot criticize the government on one because I am part of it. But majority chief whip here are not on pre is also telling the government that this domestic debt exchange program will not help. The same way minority in parliament NDC forces or Kasa. What's your take on it?
All right. Medasi bebre dedika edin chi asukuma ya hwefo ni ye texters ya on bekan ho. Friends Aruna memo adwo enyumre. Asama bisa ne de edibisa. The only thing that I can say is say mbenifo ni mienu ni nyina no. Similarity we mu say at the time I know mo kasa no. Omu nyina omu da so wo aban ni. But say we no ba ko dey we see for.
Yeah.
Na obako de all can the other so wo aban ni mu na kasa omo kan ni mienu no hwe the extent air corner let's just say we say I say twins the same language no munyina omo ka say utimi say MPP has the men and said you say be because wo amambuo ni mu nas enya they can boldly come out and talk about this ade we before say yeah differently. Say in Alan his picture, you see there are things that could have been done differently. Yes, if it were to be, there are things that here on Yanka, there are things that could have been done differently. And I think that language is no different from the another person, honorable can say. If this is the position as Sebio abang Etoa, he feels or you say there was it's unfair, it's untenable. You say it brofo 2-3 or they describe the situation. I think it's the same. It's like criticizing your own. Sana wumi enu nyina. Ekoba ohwe even crap worse. Yera another pray Yusua. As he say, only a very yipa because we say you know see. Yera another say it's unfair and untenable to include individual bond holders. Weighing or criticizing or the decision of Onoa and Abai. And I pray, say, from now going, you know, MPP for not Sebio era Alan Bekan Asem. Now one mountain I see, no more Cheno has Serena Basani, you know. It's time that they have to appreciate the fact, say, and that is one thing that I've been looking for all this while. In fact, the democracy in a bit more a year because all this what we've been saying is say, but say NDC, say always, you know, if opposition, you know, tembiano, whether the thing is good or bad, they need to oppose it. And then Uba Abemusu, Abemusu, so I didn't buy any year, maybe as more, maybe it had been unfortunate. It has been an unfortunate step. I take care. Crap, you want to defend. And I think presidents are in Penufoi, MIN, even with MPs 80 be about out and maybe first time 80 Humber rising against appointee finance minister. Well, look at the presidents going. I think it for me somebody may say but to me say to deepen our democracy, you know. It is time say I was to me obi from the binding not to be criticized. Yes, say no, I did wait there. Ni say so that you know, who say only a monster within the abinimu, or only a monster within the you know, we should sit down and look at it well. Okay, say a national interest. I didn't hear any you see Amanyos, they are several or mine any emu emba. And it is a decision biaba. Maybe a sunny economy. Opening another prayer so I did with the emboa. Obi cry we are make we are make sasemi and obi sukazo e say be ono so individual bond holder e kanuntina all kasano because omo nyina that was what the person was telling me omo nyina mo ka ho bi na say bi o alanchema te be kan na say na omo twa bond say say bi or criticize aban ano a if you the fine that is uncalled for the fine faculty. But at least I say starting from MPs 80 now omo buy e be kan omo asem etia ya bemu ni pay ye photo sample. Then the area alancham none area alancham the encropede no I say it things there could have been different ways of tackling some of these problems. So on but when put the area not on predominance I think it is unfair, untenable, and I think it's unfair and untenable to include individual bond holders. They are exhibiting dissenting views from the path Sebio Abayano Achat. And I think this is and maybe a me expect say me and Balibadamo from the opposition also learn say and you see a case opposition maybe yo and yo then no one see no one say
so what's your personal take on it? The domestic debt exchange, you know. What's your
domestic debt exchange, you know? One more out. From the ministry, the finance ministry. I'm about said they are engaging your friend is saying stakeholders, industry so that be taking certain decisions. I'm about out. I'm outlining and near Maka Krabi or Mochre say who's the beginning I buy and near say the year 2023 no interest near zero. Emma. This is 2024 and then 5%. And then the following year and then move out. But this time around, normal say because number 4 agitated people are crying out in Niamani to say, yeah, this okay. Again, this 2023, no, anka, you say yes, zero, no interest in. Your number 2%. Not 2024, 5%. Not 2025, you know, a cotton. Nina also no principal. To say, in 2027, for instance, 10% interest plus the 15% principal in 2017, it will come. And then in 2028, 10% interest, 15% principal, and also it will be coming. So this is how some of the things are on my year. But engagement is still ongoing. Engagement with stakeholders is still ongoing. Emma, the last bite of the council say, in fact, a year way, a tradable. It is all a single your friend is saying individual bondholder. Now for the way pray team massa by me. You can just go and trade where you know friend is saying bond which you could trade in off, and there are people ready to, but those who are willing to, because besides individual bondholders, we have institutions almost bonds. Okay. So some will be buying. If you want to trade it off, go and trade it off. To when it has loosened up a bit. And because there is a way out if you want to out. And I think with that, when some bar, the way I handle some, and then obiti children I say just a
debt exchange program domestic ne external is it not haircut as the minority told Ghana? So is it a haircut? Okay. Anyway, I hear WhatsApp messages saying you and be so. I send it. Oh, my WhatsApp naira ana. For come on. Oh. Take me there. Okay. Once I make sure here WhatsApp messages in your mind, then I say, "Mommy, go to a mention some free a union Malaba on once I make sure for message." You know, Honorable Samoku Tabla promised Ghana for sale is going to give us the mother of all scandals on National Cathedral and on Chronoba. Indeed, all the issues about or raising issue be. Matisse National Cathedral for Castle, Yera Duja Fini Nifidin, and a Reverend Victor Kusinusi and a Sofudin. And if you ding the MMT, Mimikofi as no said, I'm a Missy Freme. Maybe Mammy or Freme or Freme Sam. And that person, the Jameson, or the Yaonaka, Yao Sam. Aha. And so, me need national education be a din Yao Sam and was. Samo. Is it allowed? Anyway, what's up on Abba? I mean, kind you animal, my sending messages in it be at the Abba first. Okay. We say good evening, Sammy. Greetings to you and your panelists. I say, how was your weekend? Honestly, Sammy, I'm thinking of leaving Ghana and never return. I can't let my kids suffer. And I know how. I don't know what I was doing now. I said, please, how many factories can 400 million Ghana cities build? Okay, and anyway, about 400 million Ghana cities, depending the kind of factory I will build, and the purpose of which the factory is being built. It can be 400 million, no crowd will not be enough. It depends on the factory you want to build. Where are they about? We say, Sammy, good evening. I now know why they said they will not put a stop to the National Cathedral, though the country was against it. Upon all the catastrophe in this country, these so-called men of God will not pity the country. Oh, Ghana, God will judge us all. Noble, everything comes not there about. Was this, I mean, with all this biometric recognition, we still have someone with multiple passports? Increment in fuel, water, and light, and now the dollar has grown wings and flying again. May God help us, or if not, we can't make it to 2024. May God help us indeed. Good evening, Mr. Honto. See, this MPP government have condemned a country to no maintenance. We leave them to God. Mrs. Ame, please, where are all the monies our churches donated to the National Cathedral project that it has to take Reverend Victor Kwesi Boateng, or should I say Adujamfi, to give us a soft loan? Where's the boss? You say, say MPP are beyond incompetent. We say, Mr. Honto, good evening to you all. I wonder why some MPP followers can still not understand that the Nana Addo Bawumia government has totally failed. We are in 2023 and they continue to let us remain in the economic mess they have created. They take loans to chop while Ghanaians pay the loan through paying taxes and haircuts. Abba, Moses, the Frikaswa. You know the other about Sami, please tell Solo the complete this sentence, or say, I shall protect the public, comma, what happened? Okay. You know, or say, Sami, please, where are all the monies our churches donated? Okay, soft loan account. Say, you know, make the first payment test the buy. I just message with the mayor, sure, say, you and the message over. And a down. I just say, good evening, Honto, and your panelists. Was this Solo and Amaliba? This domestic debt exchange program. Sammy, where did we go wrong? President Akufo-Addo, why? You want individuals to contribute to overcoming economic challenges? Really? 1. You advance 100,000 to every single member of parliament and all 81 ministers to secure for themselves brand new V8. You again increase ex gratia of politicians from 400,000 to 600,000. This amount is expected to be paid to politicians every 4 years of doing what? 3. You have created the largest executive since independence and continue to spend recklessly on the national account. 4. Currently, interest rate of businesses and individuals' loan is hovering around 40%. At least, how will businesses and individuals survive with this? 5. You have refused to create some level of confidence in the national by still maintaining the same team that caused the mess. Yet you have the effrontery to demand for our support from the very people your decision have affected so much. Ejawusu fisi no diwe free aba. We say good evening on top, please. If you never stop entertaining some people like the man in the spectacle, I will not waste my time watching this program. Please, I'm still learning, but I will not learn lying, but already know how to lie. You should stop lying. Sugar, and if you boom, and their brain. I say these people are all fraud for Nana Addo and his team has to bring our money back before the youth starts. Okay, now National Cathedral, Mamisha Sefa Solo, Yefie. Jira Samoku Yutabra Pansama Waka, who joined in SCNA. Abawum at the mount. Are you surprised? Say, revelations be about. Then some more kind, do you see any baby bets my case holy water? Maybe we need to invest in investigating and probably taking necessary sanctions against whoever we find culpable.
Thank you, Midasi. Sami, we na me sister station be na me can say satabna Cathedral form for one more statement ma out here. So from an opana na kujeto dey running through the system no. I was just saying so. Every time we could do anyway in America. And you know, me commend no. Say yes or do and maybe musuko no. Adwa drama we yi ni me be and me interest e wo the identity no obi a oye adwuma ama aban no kura multiple identity e ho na eye me interest ti me bisa say because o hwe ade ni yi a wo watch here say edin a odi ko serve on the council near Reverend Kusi Boatin upon sa position a wa attain no e na e mani nya akwanya say wo so konya diplomatic passport okonya diplomatic passport na edin a odi occupy sa bia na amane ho kwan say wo so tumi ko je no na edin odi ko is different from edin a well e hono na because yaso fifi e frani ano ko saman entina okujeto atimi afiefi do eniema ni bi wo ho in all that is doing na maybe I'm not a nyahona measure, but a hono and a measure. Then I ask myself, you know, sir, identity way because me too way. Send you working. Who would dean? Who grab the house? Yaw Sam. Now some put a zebra for some crowd who cried that I walk on. But me too, I met another set of names.
Yeah.
I am Miami Dia, and yet, dear Metre, and yet, dear, a bianco for to draw in him our the friend. Osha Abna a two fino, Quabran a die the one, na broth din in yo. Na broth din, a better myself, didn't I miss a better a on one as miss you. But why would you attain an identity document with varying or different names? I didn't hear identity. Bitiwe me ya Amanyosem. Said I make him wodin wa dekem. Now so a din as be me din na Amanyosem am de ko. Eno na de bia wo frɛ me Solomon Sante. What me say? Enti no se obi koye sanfum so na enkoye obi of friend who say man of God. And I say,
so it means we can have multiple
yes, you can have
say,
Ghanaian our
names,
culture. No.
But when it comes to documentation,
it should be one. It should be one. And you know, maybe I wasn't in for what the man no also yes a drama ne ho kwan and abuabu area se see e wa ma ho kwa per that ayi e bi crap na response a cathedral for the abbey e bi ana e ne enti se ne na okuje to be so Orlando public ne ya agi atumu sa na agi atumu se eni yes ade no e kire se you are having multiple identities no e kire se uwo bibi to hide especially say you see cathedral in transfer sikebi e dey ama sa for no though response na buy from cathedral so kire say olonuye and omutua as to whether or institution or lonu sika or and the is another thing to talk about. I mean they may share sir multiple identification no any idea immediately connecting or any say nipa ba because tie okuje to yi ni year papa na e friend Reverend Kusibuati no ye board member of cathedral so company friend GNS no company no hwem na e nkrofo mienu na directors
yeah obine na yire
yes
miensa
Eshan Sheila ni Johannes no mienu and otimi hu again otimi hu wo mo na fe do papa do je finu no hu nipa no odomu a kotwetwe documents bia e sign person satisfied inquisition it na oye ya ma ko hu say oh say na Reverend Kusi Boatin on anyway because infonia o use a down place the nimuni and the same enimu no a da we zuzu and otimi do mu ko asa ko nya ne passport sa we use your identity cards as passport a bear the two different names next answer bear different date of birth. Well, a honor, you are giving room for people to impute criminality in it. Well, say that didn't it? A honor me major concern, but to respond normally about and also is another thing to talk about. Vis-a-vis your friend is saying we are. Do
you think that the national cathedral for statement from the Bible it makes sense? Because our case ni pan in feeding. Okay, what do you want to say in feeding? But you have two different names, one person they use for identity. What about the date of birth?
We shouldn't glorify it. Anything I'm saying, how you mean interest? Well, that's why I told you, say it is time, say even who opposition. That's a buying dear comment they are buying, and you are buying, and your party now from with the comments are dear way dear, and I'm more way to the way they may bomb basso. Now, I do the end so. No, it matches a way dear, and fair to me basham. The same way, me were bam. The abani ye betani a kind of free as you know, ye beka de ye bia ye beka. But me say a hundred de ye me border. A one person and yes claiming to be, but pay baby or taranani the or quarter as a board member, as a man of the God, and yes, I don't canon. And these are a near man ya unveiling around him. I mean, who lead the congregation? So what do you expect the followers to do? Wow. Tell me, because you know, a debate, and you know, can you see an 6, 7, 8, Nipa back for credit, 8, to the ultra that crack, and run it through. Ye multiple sana, ye who ye, and obi or tires had and paper, because obi or ye criminally minded. Well, anything I make say the amount for a year ready into it, you know, or ye dear and a man who quine and more room. Oh, or no one why. But I just don't understand it. Yeah, the other day we are not discussing no because and now yes, also for that. Hey, Masa, for Bible, ne kind.
Let's national cathedral for statement on Makaso a loan and no more kokoji so more ediba. Do they have that capacity to go for a loan without parliamentary approval? Because every payment be a demo mobiano supposed to be going through parliament. Do they have that capacity to go for loan?
Justification one more de my NSA. Sika omo twa enim from Ministry of Finance no. Ache. Enim be do ye. Enti no e na was omo ma contractors no so sika bi. Enti no na just akoto say akodun pepe so bi a just e so omo pay bi no omo de ye. But onim an interesting aspect. Share date na one more true letter no so and in the same letter no date no true letter August 2021
no reference number though
but August 2021 ne September na sika no sika no mo twen ehwe nim no
aba
share letter no
okay mama just
letter no. So I was like wow,
I just want
what is this
Captain 1 2 3 1 2 3 me ba I just want to get it
on. Well, miss any more na when
Sanamami yeah Sanamami
okay
Sanamami na me I think I came across it but I didn't save it. Okay Sanamami says here abusia for papa so pa uma so nya numi na de se de be nyina betime wo no kre etuamu na onyame aso fie kra na yesi ne ho nsensem yene se court down kra yesi court down kra ho man sebse shi na asore dana a ho nsensem. Okay we share this is the letter. Okay per this letter National Cathedral Secretariat Presidential Lodge or address or the reference number no reference number there on telephone number August 26 2021 the director JNS Talent Center Limited Accra. Dear director, loan to pay contractors for the National Cathedral of Ghana. I say the board of trustees of the National Cathedral is to make payment to the contractors of the National Cathedral project which is overdue. Payment have delayed at the Controllers and Accountant General Department. We therefore seek financial assistance of 2.6 million Ghana cedis from JNS Talent Center Limited as a top-up of a balance which we are expecting to be credited into our account by 15th of September 2021 at the very latest. This loan request has become necessary due to the agency to advance the second payment of the next phase of the work on the National Cathedral. The loan will be refunded as soon as we receive payment allocated from the Controllers and Accountant Department Office. Signed, Paul Opoku Mensah, PhD, Executive Director. Enti uji scan 50, uji scan 26 August. Na aka
3 weeks.
Aka August, say August here, 31 days.
Aka 5 days.
Aka 5 days.
Plus
and 15, 20 days.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Less than 3 weeks.
A date with the less than 3 weeks.
And I'll call you loan to pay another interest.
No, interest free though, but I hope you are getting where I'm coming from. And when me worry, say, what the contractors car, they are on you. When you a date, substantive data, say you need say be 15th aba, 15th of September. So that is 20 days time. Then you go ahead for. Oh, mommy, when I'm finishing away now, do it me here in our friends businesses. Oh, them I'm waiting to be a minimum so channel but the way I wage na me so no. Man, if I'm out channel me saka and na me the amount it can be done. But eno na wakoya asese hwe hu nsem bebre ya afi na oba be chirichiri ni ba hwe period dem na nanka if they had waited because he was very emphatic say
how can a company or incorporate here sika omo dey incorporate here na just 500 Ghana cedis as at the time am be to say sika dey akoto on my account now they have zero in their account. How can a company na security near just 500 Ghana cedis 8 million 2.5 million? Amaliba.
Daniel chapter 2 verse 22. And Romans chapter 2 verse 16. Daniel 2:22 ne say Onyankopon no yi nneoma ahinta nyina adi. Onim de wo sum na han enonote. Romans 2:16 Paul say edano Onyankopon na masempa no so bebu nipa kokwa mu nsem nyina aten say de masempa na me kan ye no etie. What am I referring to? This expose, a Honorable Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, Ede Abetu Dwano, and the tips of the iceberg. If you recall, Honorable Isaac Adongo, MP for Bolgatanga Central, in one of the explanations about the unethical and the wanton stealing in the name of loans for the government of Ghana by Ken Oforiatta and a Blackstar Brokerage. Okansa Blackstar Brokerage was incorporated in 2017 or so by Charles Aduboah Hinenebra. As at that time, when Musika or Mode Cote Blackstar Brokerage, you know, what do you call it? $100. A company or more in 2017 no, with an amount of $100 as an operating capital. From that time, 2 years later, every year key industry player in the bond market. To the extent that Wamumpo Benye Sika exchange the existing players before their creation. So, are you surprised? Say Mr. Adujemfi, I'll take crutch with a zero income. All of a sudden, 80 million sika. And only 2.6, is it 1.6 million?
2.6 million.
2.6 million. And then 2.1 million also subsequently.
3.5
3.5 at the government of Ghana. Are you surprised? Just to be a text or say me didn't throw her. Yeah, no, fine. In any case, then let him come clear. Let him come clear.
No.
But you see,
sometimes don't respond to a test.
Very well, let's carry on. But the whole National Cathedral thing, let me tell the genesis. Before 2016 elections, MPP and Akufo, no more the media never share politics. You remember? Because before the year 2000, and from 2000 to 2008, the media from 1992, every the year 2000, we saw an excellent effort by the media to hold government accountable by its actions to the people. We saw it. The media wasn't biased. Kufuor and MPP were taking over in 2001. In 2009, who the incestuous and prostitutious government relationship between the media and the government, to the extent that some media men were bribed. A big couple to coin my binary sponsor. So, we Swiss bank and some bank accounts around the world. Now, Rollins Ghana Sika we are go on. Or more Fabra and good Rollins anymore. That was when we saw it. And this Ebabem, that tradition continued. The media wanton dislikeness against the NDC, some of them, was so obvious. And towards 2016 elections, they tried to bring the church in. And they engaged in what they call a retail campaign. What is the retail campaign strategy NPP adopted here? The retail campaign was that instead of saying, we will buy a campaign, now what do we say command microphone? Compare or so for me pay sikamano. Now this sikanema so for na. So for no mom be using the pulpit at the akawa samama. Professor Mate is one of them. And Dr. Mensa Otabel said that's what about Furiata. Okay, the first Sunday after the declaration of the results, what is more kind? The evening some more kind near air cost or mining mono. Say you go each now. I'll leave it to our viewers. And here on Mr. Kusia Uhuamono, any a software or mote Nasa Cathedral no sono, board no sono. It is a cabal that they formed. Now, the recent religious posture of Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia, it's the same thing. Moving from one church to another, ceremonial odi communion, and wine, and all of that. All is because these are politicians in Kashok. Politicians. And they will use the Bible to come to you and lure you to think that, but they are not. Read 2 Peter chapter 2, verses 1 down. Jude 1:4. And Krofobi awiawi who abese Kristo so mu a Onyankopon afritete abo wondi atohoma temu a obeda di no, and the right time the judgment will come. You get that? Romans 16:17. Sa fonu nsum Kristo. Omo so wan kaso mafu. Enu te Kristo kwa mpobra ro tia asase so ano. O kan mo asem eto ho. Matthew 21:23 verses 1 down. Catch a Jew for and say, hey, I trap for no Pharisee for no. What we are for? What the Moses could so, and someone make catch him free and go past the Munoye, no subai part of Munshomo. This is the character that the so-called man of God, Mr. Kusi, and you see 2 passports, a driving license with different names. I imagine Krampus and a board chairman, a National Youth Agency.
Board member.
A board member rather. Good. So imagine this. These are the people we are talking about. I don't think the whole Nasa Cathedral have been built on lies and deceptive ground. In fact, a defiled ground for that matter. In any case, the whole concept emerged as Nana Akufo-Addo. The day I call so and the boa or the Shea Yakupo and I'm a boa. In which part of the MPP manifesto, and a Solomon Martin Akache and say, Omo the same so be in a cathedral. In any case, Ghana yeti has a siano, so no, ye how pie cathedral on. Huh? A Christopher Ben or Muti Kuma or Muni Shada or tell me. Woman Muni Shada and Impo, or Mun show us so school them, no consume Yakupo T1. Do we need a cathedral now? And why the insistence? And why the intransigent? The censor motion are honorable or the NDC minority MPs are filing in Parliament. Kenneth Furiata appeared before the censor motion committee. Correspondence of the Comma committee, no, and the financial cathedral at the Bayano, there was a difference of 126 million Ghana cedis. Based in that, they cannot account for baby size Kanafa. And you consider Amanyanko Poma, a whole chrononie. Bempa was a back cathedral once I told that. One of them trying to cover Mampini Akufo-Addo. Meboa. One guy.
Yeah, he said it.
He lies to cover Akufo-Addo. And to a big group of unprincipled men in Kasok around him. And he used them to cover his criminalities. I mean, my brother, it's so disgusting. At the time where a buying the individual bonds hold the secret to her or some years as kind of mamo. But government can get money to engage in this kind of unreasonable budget expenses. Look, it's so disgusting. But so where we are, many honorable some could to a black choir drain.
Say.
Or petition Shraj. Shraj should come in. Because Mampene Kufuado, a bra or Koda Chebi in the Krum, and so Sada so be so that my Yankopono, not Ghana for Nina Hubi. And to any individual pledge cannot be a national burden. That's number one. Number two, in the name of National Cathedral, a mining sika yunugu, a young faculty coin so, Eddie Sikano, a year Nioma, Essenen Fatano, that one too must stop. Therefore, I support the call for the forensic audit into the National Cathedral accounts to ensure that every available public resources are yet devoted to this scandalous cathedral. The truth must be revealed. In the meantime, we must openly protest against anyone we are causing. Here comes here. NDC for almost NDC has not opposed the building of a national cathedral if it is so needed to do. But even if that was to be the case, it must be done prudently, it must be done rightly, and it must be done with at least some level of dignity. A more minor ni munyam, nesi yakopodi so ni munyam. Na yes sa krono, sa kwan boni we so eni efa edi apeni munyam ma yakopon. I mean, you don't understand that me. Abba.
All right, yenya solo a kutu Bible quotation mi se men kaina. Yenyina yenche ewa ha se na quotation anyway Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 11. Now the watchro ewa Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 11 you know say where New International Version say both prophet and priests are godless. Even in my temple I find their wickedness, declares the Lord. Now about New Living Translation. Or even the priests and prophets are ungodly, wicked men. I've seen their despicable act right here in my own temple, says the Lord. Over the English Standard Version, both prophets and priests are ungodly. Even in my house, I have found their evil, declares the Lord. See, the one can say, Yankopon na kase was say, Empo edifo, ene asofo numpo. Omo nyanya mesumfo. Na mahu omo wudie ene bone a omo edie.
Ezekiel 13 verse 1.
Ezekiel 13. Meba back na yetimi akan. Na mame nko na yenhwe other WhatsApp messages about 1 to 3. We say common sense. Okay. Messages maybe one come here escape it. We say if we have say Alan is a hypocrite. Nothing good is in the MPP. Them all be saying Powilly, United States of Clagon. Good evening, Hunter. No there Abba. We say I'm Gifty from Jastown, Bono region. I know they are say good evening, Mr. Sami. I'm a Frane Electricals Parkoso Estate, Kumasi. We say I feel sorry for the pastor who has involved in the multiple passport scandal because we all look up to them in the society. If such things happen to them, it demoralizes our faith in them. Greetings to all Theocracy Church members from Afrane Electricals Parkoso Estate, Kumasi. And there Abba. Afrane, for me there. Well, it's a good evening, Sami. In fact, Mahama is better than this man. But see, the MPP man is failing to tell the truth. Mind you, this government is too poor that even case with conscience cannot speak for. Yenuya aye mutaru na diwe about. Good evening, Sami. This issue of Kwesi Boateng is another gigantic scandal to hit our already almost dead nation. The thing is that the dangerous President Akufo-Addo is legendary in corruption. He carefully selected the thieves he appointed for specific positions to play his card. They steal and he takes his share. I have no doubt whatsoever that the MPP are nothing but a connection man's party. The president always declared his thieves. The president always cleared his thieves. If you happen to be a Christian, be known that these people who lead you are not trustworthy. Look for answers for your salvation. Whoever follows NPP is finished. The fear and the denials of NPP is indeed the beginning of wisdom. Kudos to Amaliba. Solo must bow his head in shame. Hunter, you are the best. Yenua Faisa, Hunter Trobo constituency, and Odefe Abre. Where's Sami? Mr. Sami, good evening to you. Please tell Amaliba that he shouldn't worry because Ghanaians will be voting them out. But all they need to do is to stop talking too much and open their eyes, because it is the turning MPP we are talking about here. In fact, I need to commend Solo. He's a gentleman. He has spoken well this evening. Basic common sense is not common for all people. A lot of policy by this government has failed due to no broad consultation. The good with that they had from 2007 when they took office has waned down. We, the fellow Ghanaian, our eyes are cleared now from their deception, arrogance of power, and thinking that they alone had brains and other person's ideas doesn't matter is what is causing, therefore, which is leading to the mass suffering of all of us. You owe me, you can't pay. Instead of begging me, you got the nerve to give your own condition and threatening me to accept your condition or leave it. The finance minister has forgotten that managing the economy is different from managing a private investment company where you can take a decision for a small group and sometimes bully your workers anyhow. I suggest this government should create a ministry of common sense to help some of their political appointees to take a correct decision. Ejawusu and a different say the other. We say good evening, Mr. Hunter. You see, this crazy old man has increased fuel again. What is it going on? What is going on? So they can't manage our resources, or they are just fooling. Full of insults. I know what they. Chairman Abukari, this is national radio, national television, so some of the words in Boa we can't just know. Mr. Hunter, please, didn't you see that Honorable Samuel Kujita Braka deserves to be the next president for Ghana after the reign of his boss, JM? I wish he is my MP. All that he does in his constituency and in Ghana as a whole. I called him small boy with big brains, sugar. Good evening, Hunter. This MPP people think, Ghanaians are all blank-minded, so they just say whatever they want without thinking through. We say Bau from Medina, UBH. Mr. Hunter, thank you once again. God says we should not lie and cheat, but I wonder why some so-called Christian leaders allow themselves to follow Nana in lying and cheating. Nana says he promised God to build him a cathedral, but is now pushed the project for the state to execute. They formed a cathedral group, and together they are milking the state, and now God is punishing them big time. Desecrating the image of God. By the way, the MPP man today is speaking the truth. Moses Kaswa. Also, you people are doing a great job. Even you, I know you are not saying true. NDC cannot do anything for Ghanaians. Very good evening. My name is Benjamin from Jamestown. I say, Reverend Amaliba, you are too much. God bless you. Thank you. Good evening, Same. Tell Solo if he has no elder or sensible person to advise him not to defend defenseless things he not with our ears. It's a good evening, please. How can a reverend minister have 2 names and different dates of birth? Please, can that minister also preach John Wedo and the way Abba? I say, please, I'm Apostle Philip N. Eshen. All ministers of Ghana have church buildings, so we don't need any cathedral. Thanks. We say, Mr. Hunter, good evening. The pastors themselves have seen that there is nothing in the Bible. That is why they are using the Bible to amass their wealth. From Stephen Adentano de Abba. Don't forget, said last year, Mikabi Bicho said the problem of this country it was 3 institutions in Ghana. The politician, our chiefs, kind of traditional leaders, and the religious leaders, especially the church and affiliate. Abusa for me wrap up. Na Yonko Solo.
Well, so kind of you another studio. No, me just say, I deal with Bible say ebinimo kasa na almost pointing fingers at the president and a president. I'm busy say. In fact, if you crap there, na my colleague, you know, also say the appointer, the panel appointee, no, or appointee, no, and not take. And so, if you say, oh, say, I did daho, I send better on mine when I can. You see a set some objective be say, on mine ye near can a dear nako. The moment I did Amanyosem babe fra adina ye can I affect it on mine. Na amaya tia huefi the objective na a dianism. Because see, you know, who kind of man pay me why papa be wa friend Reverend Kusi Boatin. Ono na sebio wakonya identity, multiple identity. And also this room, and ne huntuma apa. See, we have had one side, or no kusini grabinyante in the side here. Why would we draw in a third person? Now for the NPP, NDC, politicize here, now for everyone at the Nankasa, a year at dinner said you, a was a minor DHRC, a better to baby panel. Now I didn't Ajiraye, now a NDC MPP. It didn't me catch any panel. I say, would you be happy if I say, a free anchor, every say free anchor, a John Dramani Mahama is essentially the former president, although appointed to the free anchor, a John Mahama, a small song. I mean, if we continue doing that, if an idea be it can be a BBC as a minor year, can as any bomb in year can. We mean objective. Obia koye BBC, yen hold up no the person to read because I wouldn't believe say man penny catch every a free anchor say corner okon koye way. A etia on mine ama oba ti memfo bubefu sa so man penny so appointed abrantie say uncle for multiple whatever has happened. It is a nipana assembly fan on aba mumienka don't man penny so de beba ye beka
okay
na say yes idea dey beba the objective of the whole thing ebe yirayin
yam krikojo buadi e wo UK was say hi bro Sami, all these people are criminals ungodly kojo buadi for UK dey aba amaleba.
I am so scandalized about the concluding remarks of Solo.
I want you to be scandalized.
You see, say more MPP4. Oh, the problem with MPP is that a bribia assembly be two or more a be one. They will be looking for an escape avenue to ventilate their incompetence and engage in reckless equalization. What about if it's a free anchor, akoye way, Oyeden? Can you point out a single wrong which was committed by Honorable if it's a free anchor during 2014 football or World Cup tournament in Brazil? In any case, granted that he did many things wrong, and then his government covered him. You've been in government for the past 7 years. Why can't you take him to court or take him on? And you, as a law student, you know it. That the committee of inquiry in Fandis, EBA, the individual so indicted by the Commission of Inquiry report had the right to go to High Court within 6 months and clear his name. And the Committee of Inquiry report is subject to be challenged at the High Court level or by the High Court or at the High Court. Was he indicted? Did he go to court? What was the outcome of the court decision? Please stop that needless equalization. If it's a free anchor did nothing wrong, he is succinctly innocent and there is no debt on him. Momotai Naba. You have a man imposter posting to be a man of God who is using the diplomatic passport and the national passport with 2 different names and birth dates.
Okay.
What about that?
So the national cathedral
passport.
Okay.
A man is so called man of God engaged in blatant criminality. Akufo-Addo partner. And you are saying that Akufo-Addo should be disassociated from this man who appointed him.
The National Cathedral Trust Board that was critically in need of money and borrowed some from Kisipwatin Duna. On the 27th August 2021, managed to raise that 2.6 million within 12 days and pay the money back on 8 September 2021. Another Abba. Abusia, I had a National Communication Team member, MPP, and I National Communication Team member, NDC, and Madam Assistant sending messages.